No Jumper, coolest podcast in the world. And today I'm in here with Old Man Saxon. How you doing, man?
I'm always good, man. How you doing?
Great. I became a big fan of what you were doing during your time on Rhythm and Flow. It sucks that you didn't make it further into the show because I really felt like every time you were given screen time on that show, you were doing very inventive flows, crazy, weird wordplay. I was just really, really impressed overall.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I really appreciate that, man. It sucks, yeah. I could have went further. And what it really sucks about the story is that it ends with like a question mark, like, oh, you know, like he could have. What happened if he did the music video challenge? Like, yeah, it'd have been tight or whatever. But
and that's kind of the risk when you put yourself into that situation is, you know, sort of like setting yourself up for the chance at winning and also allowing yourself to be vulnerable enough that people might see you lose, knowing that you're going to get a lot of benefit along the way, but also that you're sort of, as an artist, entering yourself into this weird thing where you're going to let all these TV producers contextualize who you are as an artist. Very interesting to me.
Dude, the contract for the show was the scary shit to sign because it literally was just like, fuck, like legal terms. I can cuss, right?
Yeah.
Fuck legal terms. It was like, yo, we can edit this footage however we want. So like, even if you do well, like we can say you didn't and all that. So yeah, it was good for me to like, first of all, like you said, like in the little bit of time I had on camera, people fucked with me. So the impact was there. But yeah, it was scary the whole time not knowing what.
Sorry.
Not knowing what they could have done. Because I remember I was sitting in the van with two contestants, and the thought went through my mind like, damn, like what if I like shit on myself like on stage or something? Like just what if that happened? And then I started saying it out loud and seeing that they were like like getting freaked out by it. And I was like, I kind of ran with it a little more. But still, like, yeah, that shit was scary, man. You know what? It's once in a lifetime chance.
Yeah, take me through a bit of your younger life though. You're from Denver?
Denver, Colorado. Yeah, born and raised.
Okay. Not necessarily known for its hip hop scene.
Not at all.
No.
Not at all.
Great place to go though.
Thank you.
Lovely.
Yeah, thank you, man.
I spent a month out there one time. Fantastic.
It's a great place.
In Golden.
Okay, yeah, I know much about Golden.
We were riding bikes and like going into the city every day. So I mean, yeah, I just really like the vibe
I was in
out there.
Golden. I took the Polar Express with my kids.
lot of white people activities going on in Denver is really where a lot of that is being propagated. The skiing and the Patagonia vests and such.
The vest in particular.
Yeah.
But no, like, yeah, our hip hop scene isn't great. Like, and a lot of people would say like our biggest celebrity is Selena Kyle.
I did not know that you were gonna go there.
Yeah, that was just fucking crazy because I was just watching a little clip from that recently, and she brings up Trev Rich, who's dope as fuck. Like we have really, really good artists, and I think there's a perception about Denver just by itself that even how us Denver natives take it, like it's hard for us to get out of that little bubble. Right. And for me. And I'll say this with every interview, I'm not trying to be the Denver rapper at all, because I know what comes with that. Right. Instead of just bringing your artistry first and then being from Denver. Right. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten someone be like, "Oh, yeah, you putting Denver on the map, man. Why is it that we can't put Denver on the map?" And like that's such a ridiculous like concept. It's like, focus on your artistry first. What the fuck does it matter?
Every artist is their own warrior going out there trying to do their own thing. You know, the idea of like a community, it can only really happen if there are a bunch of dope, talented people. Like, because at the end of the day, hip hop is the most cutthroat, Machiavellian sport on earth. Everybody is out for themselves. You know?
And the problem with that is everyone thinks that they can rap, and in a way, they can. Like
they can rap.
Yeah, you can rap. Not everyone can rap well.
And even the people who rap well, a lot of times, still, it doesn't really matter because there's a lot more to it.
And that's the other thing about Denver, too, is I don't think a lot of the artists have understood the more to it aspect of it. Like, it's an image, it's all that shit. Which is why I go on stage with this suit and shit, but I would never wear that shit outside of the stage, but that's who I am as an artist.
I actually didn't think of it until you just mentioned it. I'm like, yeah, like, how did that come about? Maybe we're jumping ahead a little bit here.
I mean, no, the suit... The suit came from me being an opening act, like, and understanding how I hated opening acts. Like, I didn't pay to see you. Stop rapping in my face. Stop telling me to put my hands up. Like, just stop doing this as a person. And I realized whenever, like, if I was to be in the audience and see someone come out with a suit, all right, what's up? Already, what's up? And to see someone say, I ain't never been in no water, I ain't never been in nobody's boat, and just be like, all right.
Oh, so you always start with that?
I start with that always.
Okay.
That's a must. I have different ones throughout the show, but I start with that always.
And I always think about it because I know a lot of guys who just don't ever go in the ocean. And I'm like, is that what that kind of suggests?
No, so that no, that comes from just as Old Man Saxon, this idea of like in rap, the younger black stereotypes have been done to death. Like in a way where it's like, I got tattoos and dreads, I'm like the bad stereotypes. But there's rarely like the old man stereotype of black people. Like all of those like little funny quips come from like old people in my family who are just so sheltered and like have not been on a plane or have not been on a fucking boat. It's just like, that's hilarious to me. That shit is so fun. So I'm trying to like play with that older stereotype rather than just the like
it's very interesting because I mean, hip hop fetishizes youth more than almost anything else. And that always occurs to me when I'll have an A&R or whoever hit me up about an artist and it's a video of like a 16-year-old kid with a handgun in the projects. And he's got his shirt off and he's got some tattoos and shit. And they're like, oh, this shit is hard. And I'm like, I mean, it might work, but it's like, are you really like, you're okay with this? Yeah. This being your career is that you're just trying to propagate this?
It will work. And I think that's, for me, it's never been necessarily about it working. For me, it's the difference between timely and timeless. And this young shit will eventually wear off. I tell this story all the time. The reason I'm Old Man Saxon is because I remember the day Little Bow Wow took the little out of his name. Wow. And he was just like, I'm Bow Wow now, nigga. And it's like, no, we saw that. That shit is documented. We saw all of that.
Right.
Instead of having this like persona that you can grow into and you can just be like, nah, I'm a timeless person. So yeah, the you shit, it's timely and it lasts for right now. But like all the best rappers, the best rapper, Jay-Z, just turned 50 and he's still...
We never even really got to see like the young-ass Jay-Z so much because even early in his career, he was still pretty grown. He was like late 20s.
He's always been way ahead of his time.
Right.
And you just talked to... X-Rated, which I just watched that interview.
Crazy. Did you? Wow.
That was the craziest shit.
Crazy, right? I never thought he was going to get out.
That was the most... I appreciate that interview so much. That shit was great.
That was an honor,
But even him, I talked to him on Instagram Live once and just about like... Man, my favorite rapper was Mac Dre, and because X-Rated's sober, he doesn't drink, he doesn't do any shit, and I'm at a point now where I'm trying to do all my shows sober, because I can't go on tour and drink and then wake up and have to fly home and deal with my kids. It's just a lot, so I'm trying to do this shit sober.
You like having a few drinks?
Yeah, a few drinks, even though I know my family is... There's addiction in my family, so I just want to catch that shit on the front end.
That's dope.
But he was even saying like... Yeah, like Mac Dre, he was tight, but he was young. We idolize these kids, but we don't realize like what would happen if Mac Dre grew up. He probably wouldn't still be talking about theism and gig and all that shit. He's like, I was Mac Dre, like just equated to me. I was talking about whatever I was talking about. Now I'm sitting here with you spitting like amazing game to try to like change that.
Because it's like these young rappers in a lot of ways are these like disposable toy soldiers for the labels to send out there and sort of like propagate these unnecessary, unfortunate stereotypes that are super, super marketable. Like if you're a kid who's just starting a random clothing line, like I know dudes who have random ass clothing lines where they do a bunch of different lean graphics or like, weird pill type graphics. That shit is the easiest thing on the earth to sell. I'm actually glad that I'm in a position where I'm high profile enough that I can never get away with it, that I would be called out immediately on the fact that I'm propagating some evil shit right there. But as a younger man, I might have fucked with that or whatever. I remember getting a lot of shit for putting pot leaves on shirts back in the day and stuff. It doesn't seem like anybody's too concerned about that now. But yeah, I mean, that is like a question is like, how do you go about building a brand that is based on spreading positivity?
Yeah, and one of those things is, like you said, is easier. One of those things is just way easier. Of course, everyone's going to go the easy route to make money. I've been doing this. It took me 10 years from when I started doing rap as a profession to get on Rhythm and Flow. And that's fucking ridiculous. That's way too, like, pretty much. And I think about it, like, after having kids and shit and then still trying to rap, it's like, you fucking loser. But it's like, no. Like, this is the hard route. And if I think of it in those terms, like, yeah, I could at any point be like, man, nah, I'm gonna make a song about the lean pills or some shit like that. That's just what the song is.
Lean pills.
Yeah, that shit would pop off.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one's easier, one's harder.
I mean, like, hip hop is an ever evolving conversation about, you know, what is acceptable, what has merit and stuff. And I mean, like, I think of that when I go back and I watch, like, I was watching like this old Snoop and Dre video. I forget which one, but there's like a big house party and there's just all these dudes and they're spraying bottles of champagne all over this girl. They just drench her. And that's like the joke in the video is like, ha ha, look at this bitch who got champagne sprayed all over.
The whole thing.
I'm like, that would really not fly these days.
Tip drill, all that shit. But that's a interesting point. Just the word evolve in hip hop, right? Because I have this theory that that when hip hop gets stagnant is when it's kind of feeding off of itself. So they're the first, I tell this story a lot, but Grandmaster Flash, when he first, and I hate starting with Grandmaster Flash, but Grandmaster Flash, you know, it's, oh, who's this old nigga?
You feel like you date yourself a lot because you brought up Africa Bambaataa on one of your moments on the show?
Yeah, I did. I was like, yeah, of course. What's actually another thing that's funny about it is when they asked me, like, who are my influences, and I said Cap Calloway and Mac Dre. I actually said X-rated too, but they cut that. I said X-rated and E40. But back to the story.
They don't want to hear no underground shit.
Nah, hell no. They're like, what the fuck? But yeah, Grandmaster Flash, when he invented the crossfader, he's the first person on Earth to go, you know, and do that shit. That background came from him being an electrician. So it's these outside influences that made hip hop flourish. And then when we get to the stagnant places in hip hop, it's when, oh man, I hear this dude singing auto-tune, talking about lean. I'm gonna do that. And I'm gonna put my twist on it. It's like, no, nigga, that's done. Like, that's been done. So it's this idea that hip hop is ever evolving, but the way that it flourishes is adding those outside influences.
And there's a lot of dope production that happens in hip hop, obviously, but sometimes I feel like with the loss of sampling, where it like just doesn't make any sense for rappers to sample financially, that there's something that was lost in hip hop, because hip hop in its original form was all about digging in the crates and grabbing some random record and finding that chunk on there. And now it's all mostly keyboards and synth and stuff. And
such a good point.
It's different.
It's completely different. And to a point now where Post Malone's album gets considered as a hip hop album, when if you were to listen to that shit at any point in history 10 years ago, that's fucking blasphemy. But yeah, that's a great point. It's the sampling has kind of muddied those waters of what hip hop is too.
Like now when a rapper puts out a like, you know, I think Fab just put out his like soul tape number whatever, but people talk about it like, wow, it's so crazy that he's still so dedicated that he actually used all these samples and paid for it. Danny Brown, I saw that he had like a story where he said he spent $80,000 or whatever on samples for his project, and how it didn't really make any financial sense, but he wanted to do it as an artist. Now we look at that as this like freakish side thing that happens once in a while.
It goes back to the easy and hard thing. Like that's a hard thing to do, to like have to clear samples and shit just for your artistry. Like that's the difference between artistry and consumerism, pretty much.
It's true. So where were you at in your career when you started to embark on attempting to do rhythm and flow, and like were there any like major milestones? Because I saw you had like you've had videos going back however many years, and you've had like videos that had millions of views from like 4 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I was teaching rap at the Musicians Institute, like right down the street on Hollywood Boulevard. Yeah, I was the professor of rap, and that shit still blows my mind. Every time they introduced me as the professor of rap, I was like, oh shit, like that's crazy. Like
that is crazy.
I'm supposed to have like some like dignity. I'm like, oh, I am the professor of rap. But yeah, I was doing that and still just making music videos. And before that, I was homeless as fuck, just still trying to make it in this rap game. And I realized too, when I was homeless, like, I'm fine with being broke for people to hear my music. And that was what changed it for me, is like trying to make it in the rap game.
So you were someone that was really willing to sacrifice everything, because how did you actually end up homeless though? Is there just like a point where the rent just runs out and you're like, fuck it, I'm not getting a job, I'm going to keep focusing on the music?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I quit my job testing video games at Konami, and
You got some weird arcs in the story.
Yeah, man. if we had like the time, it'd be, everything is just fucked up.
Wow.
Testing video games at Konami, one of the worst jobs ever.
Really?
A lot of nice people,
Just running around trying to find bugs? You're just like mashing smashing into a wall until something happens.
Dude, so this was the straw that broke the camel's back. We had a game on the PSP or PS Vita or something called Silent Hill Book of Memories.
Okay.
And it's a dungeon crawler, overhead dungeon crawler, and it's 500 levels, right? Each level takes between 20 to 45 minutes. So I would play through this shit day after day after day, get to level, let's say 284. There would be a bug in 284. I'd call the developer, say, hey, there's a bug in 284. They go, oh, awesome. Send me another build of the game. I have to start from level 1 and play to 284 just to see if they fix that bug. And then 285 might break. It was one of the worst jobs ever.
And there's like a fleet of other dudes as well doing this because
all of us just in a room about this big, lined up, each with a computer system. Terrible.
When I was a little kid, I used to read articles about dudes who that was their job and think that that was what I wanted to do when I grew up.
And that's terrible, terrible life choice. Like really bad. And but that was the thing. There was people in there who loved video games.
Right.
I didn't fuck with it like that.
Okay.
And then I'd get home, my roommate would be like, "Let's play Madden," and I'd be like, "Shut up, dude." So yeah, I quit that job and then just didn't have any money. Got into like a little thing with my roommate at the time. Started living with my like ex, and then she moved to Poland, and then I was just like, "All right, this is it now. This is it." Posted in my car for 13 months. And just wrote music.
Was that a terrible 13 months, or was it in some ways liberating because you got to focus on your craft?
Terrible. My math's gonna be fucked up. Terrible 6 months in the beginning. Terrible 7 months in the beginning. All the rest of it, super liberating.
Really?
Because you can't just like live in a house your whole life and then not live in a house and then think you know what the fuck's going on. Like, nah, like there was some like growing pains, like trying to figure out where to park.
Yeah.
Where the fuck do I sleep? First time I slept out, I slept in Hollywood Hills. Some like really nice neighborhood, and I was like, oh yeah, there's no one out here. There's no one here. I can sleep in the back of my car. And I woke up to like a parking attendant who's just like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, there'd be a bunch more people here. Get the fuck out.
That is an area where any crime or any disturbance is definitely going to be noticed.
Like,
you know,
what are you doing? He just was so just like
this is
disgusted
not,
by it.
This ain't
Come on, man.
This ain't gonna work out here.
Why did you think that would work? And then I I drove to like Koreatown, where it's like,
Hectic.
Yeah. And I like had my car broken into 3 times while I was sleeping in the back of it. Like just sleeping in the back, just wake up to like my doors closing. It's like, all right, that's what's up.
What?
I woke up to this. I slept like somewhere else in Koreatown, like house sitting. Went back to my car. Woke up to 3 used condoms in my car. Just really, 3 used ones too.
Who bust 3 nuts?
3. Yeah. Who busts 3 and then just leaves them there like while they're doing the other 2?
I wonder if some of the condoms were like defective or they just like didn't go on right.
They
Try to put it on
had
backwards.
They all.
If you're breaking into the backseat of a car to fuck, maybe just go raw dog. Man, this bitch must have had something. He was scared.
Honestly, just do it. Dude.
Just forces your imagination to go crazy.
One of the worst things was having to clean it up.
Oh.
And I picked it up and just a little piece dripped from it. And I was just like, God damn it. Like, this is my life right now. It's the smallest little bit drip. And I say all that to say it was fucked up for like the first 7 months. And after that, I started to get the hang of it, sleeping in Echo Park, right by the lake. You know, look right there, open my windows, hear some water, see people walking by, and not just like crazy ass people like scouting my truck and shit.
I was just over there the other day. That would be a nice place to chill out.
Things. And so it was like, it made me realize, obviously, like the cliche shit, like I'm stronger than I thought I was and all that. But it also made me realize, like, I don't need much. Like, none of us really needs that much.
Right.
I had a car, I had a pen, I had a pad, I had the internet on my phone, and I was good.
Even that right there, because a lot of people, like, to them, if they don't have studio time or at least like a bedroom setup, they wouldn't even be able to comprehend making music.
Nah, you can make music any fucking way you want. I had my phone and the memos on my phone. Record a song there. Go to the studio. Here's the song that I've recorded already. Let's do it.
Right.
So yeah, that was a chill ass time. It was super chill.
So
actually.
you end up getting a spot though after that?
Yeah, because while I was homeless, I was working at a little Italian restaurant in Los Feliz, or Los Feliz, however y'all say it.
Just saving up money because
saving up money.
Right.
One of the people he was an Uber driver for one of my friends. We ended up like hooking up because he's a producer. He ended up working at the restaurant that I was working at, and then I moved in with him. But yeah, that was after 13 months of. And I didn't tell him either that I was like homeless, but he thought something was up when I moved in. I just had one bag. I had a duffel bag from Goodwill.
Holy
like,
shit.
Here we go.
When you were homeless though, was it like a constant sort of fear of people figuring it out, and was it tough to like stay clean and everything?
Yeah. So I didn't tell my mom. I didn't tell any of my family. Only tell one of my friends really. So, and the thing that I would do. Cause I'd still be trying to go out and like, fuck, like.
Because if you meet a girl that has a house to stay at, you just hit a lick. All of a sudden, it's way more than some pussy. All of a sudden, you got a place to stay.
I'm still a human.
She might make you eggs in the morning.
Yeah, that happened. That happened. Because the move was, hey y'all, like, what's up, baby? I'm Saxon. Cool. Where do you live? I asked her first, like early in the conversation, just random weird shit, like, oh, where do you stay? So that I could say I lived on the whole other side of town, like, just in case she's asked me first. I'm like, Silver Lake. She's like, oh, me too. Where? And I'm like,
I'll stay in Temecula.
yeah. I'm just always say I live in Riverside or some shit. So yeah, like that was weird as shit. And then as far as like clean, like drinking and shit, nah, it wasn't a thing. It was never. And I swear that's so weird that you bring that up. Cause I didn't even start like drinking and doing drugs like until I got a place.
Right.
Like there was no like I swear it was like I'm not about to like get drunk and go sleep in the back of my car. That's no fun.
There's no
like,
glamour in that. Yeah.
That's boring as shit. So yeah, when we like do drugs and sit and do what? Like yeah. So until I got a house, I started like getting a little bit more wild.
Right. But so there was never a part of you because like for me, when I imagine being homeless, I imagine like, oh, all right, I'm gonna have to rob somebody. Like, like I'm gonna have to do all kinds of. I'm gonna go steal shit.
No. And because that's funny you say that too. Because there's a lot, the stigma behind like a homeless person. I think we all have like someone in our mind just when we say like homeless person. I realized how many people were like in my position. I would go to Barnesdall Park, like I don't know if you know where it is, like right here on Hollywood Boulevard. I'd sit there in my car literally if I didn't have work the whole day and just try to write until the park closed. And I would see same young 20-something-year-old black dude, 30-something-year-old white woman. Just these people who are obviously didn't have homes because what the fuck are y'all doing here with me with all your clothes in the back seat, just chilling. So.
It's more common than you think.
Yeah, and I say that to say, like, it doesn't necessarily change who you are. Like, if I wasn't about to rob no one when I had a house and I was broke, I wasn't about to do it because I was homeless. It's very similar to, like, after you have a kid. Like, you think, like, it changes you, but it really just makes you who you are even more. You know what I'm saying?
I guess I'm a robber because, man, I would be robbing somebody if I didn't have the money right now, too. Not even that. I was just like, I would start selling drugs. 100%.
That might just be who you are. Dude.
You know? That's just, like, where my mind goes. Like,
this might be in your blood, man.
Yeah, because like I was watching a video about this dude. Weird side note, but I was watching a video about a dude who makes YouTube videos where he goes to like Ross, Dress for Less, and he knows what shit he can buy for like $10 that he could sell on eBay for $20. And that's his whole hustle.
So yeah, he's on another level.
I'm like, man, I'll be stealing that shit.
Very time consuming.
Take that shit. Yeah, but he's like, I can make $100 a day, and like I'm self-employed. I'm like, shit, I see that. I see the value in that.
With Ross. I want to shout out Ross right now.
I was thinking about. I don't think I've ever been in there.
It's great.
Really?
Like it's a trash dump full of clothes, and they just put everything in a pile. You just pull it out. But I found some good shit at Ross. Shout out to Ross. Sponsor me, please.
I didn't know that. So okay, you're. Working at this restaurant and you have this apartment when you hear about Rhythm and Flow, or
so within the span of like a year and a half, I got my apartment and then I got my partner pregnant in like a year of being newly not homeless. And so I had one kid accident, and I'll let them know that when they grow up. And then I had another kid 17 months later. So I say all that to say too, like it was the universe just working out for me. Like I got these two kids. I'm working as a teacher, which doesn't pay shit really. I'm still trying to rap, and I'm still just trying to do me. And if at any point, I believe at any point I steered left to do anything different, to like fuck that, I'm gonna get an office job or anything, I wouldn't have got on Rhythm and Flow. So yeah, that Rhythm and Flow came right at the right time.
So how'd you hear about it?
Once again, if I'd have steered left, I wouldn't have got heard about it because my boss at the Musicians Institute, Deborah Bird, she's the vocal coach for The Voice. She's the vocal coach for American Idol, so she knows people. So she told me about it. She gave me the application when it was just called Untitled Hip Hop Project. That's what it was called. And I was just like, and for the longest time, I was like, I don't want to do this. Like,
That's a terrible name.
Yeah, that's terrible. Because even before that, I had gotten like an application to do The Four. I mean, I remember The Four. Oh, that shit was bad. And thank God I didn't get it. But she gave me the application 3 months before it was released to the public. I filled it out, and then Tip and Cardi B said, we got a show coming out, fill this application out, and I clicked it again, and it was the exact same application. So I heard it from that, and yeah. And I was telling, because the reason they did it like that, I believe, is if you tell the world at one time, we're looking for rappers, that you're fucked. Like, you're like, oh shit, you want some rappers? Here you go.
Right.
And they're going to be, not a lot of them are going to be great. So they had like a little select few, which I think D Smoke was one of those people. I think a lot of the people who were probably in the last couple episodes got the application before everyone else did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to say that, like, they sort of maybe had people in particular that they were leaning towards that were supposed to sort of be the stars of the show?
I wouldn't say the stars of the show, but they wanted people that they knew could perform. That They knew, because it was people. I get a lot of people in Denver like, man, I can't wait till I'm on that show next season. Like, I'm gonna kill it. No, nigga, we were chilling at our homes, and then a month later, hey, we need you to come perform in front of Cardi B, T.I., and Chance and Snoop right now. You have to be in a certain mindset as a performer and an entertainer to just be like, oh, okay, let's do it. Because there was people, oh man, I can't believe it. Like, oh, Cardi B's out there. Like, no. Cardi, in the same like energy you're thinking of that, putting that in, it should be like, oh, okay, Cardi B's out here, let me do that shit.
Right.
And not everyone can do that. So they had their people who they were like, okay, he's performed before, he has this many views on his videos, they have this, let's get them.
Right.
Because if we just get a million applications of people who we don't know have it, we don't have a show.
So are you going into the show thinking, I really need to go crazy because they have people that they kind of want to push through, so I need to really overperform?
I went into that show doing the same shit I did every show that I've done. Like, I wasn't tripping about, like, literally anybody else. If you see like the 5 minutes of screen time that I have on that whole show, the only time I'm talking is when I'm performing. So I wasn't worried about nobody fucking else. I was actually like, damn, y'all are really like giving a lot of energy to something that y'all don't really need to give energy to. So for me, it was just like, nah, I'm just going to do what I've been doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there's like, that's the attitude is you could either be nervous as fuck for this, or you could just do it.
Yeah.
And being nervous isn't going to make you any better. It's not going to, freaking out for days or weeks beforehand or thinking about the enormity of rapping in front of Chance the Rapper is not going to help you.
And I'll add to that by saying the nervous is actually fine. Being nervous is fine. That's some sort of energy that you're holding for yourself to get out something better. Like, nerves are fine. I watched an interview with Kanye. He said, I get nervous every show. Kanye. So that's normal. It's the doubt. It's like it's the negative nervous that we're talking about. It's like anxiety to it. That's what it is. It's not the nerves. It's the like, oh, well, what is Chance going to do? You should be nervous. You're about to take something that you made and show the world. Like, that's that's nerve-wracking.
To me, it's like you practice to beat out the nerves. Like, because I could have, if they tell me tomorrow I got to interview Jay-Z, I'm going to be nervous as fuck.
Yeah.
And I'm going to sit down in front of my computer and I'm going to fucking study Jay-Z for 12 hours. And then by the end of it, I'm not going to be that nervous anymore.
That's such a good point. Because I realized too that a lot of my nerves and anxiety come from not being prepared. When I was teaching, like whenever I wasn't prepared for the lesson, I'd be like, oh shit, like what the fuck am I going to say? But once I was prepared, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, you're absolutely dead on with that.
Right, like if you go out there and you don't know your rap that well, but if you've done it 300 times in front of the mirror, then what are you gonna do? But I guess that does happen to some people. They get up there and they just forget.
Yeah, it's not for everyone. They knew what they were doing. They definitely did.
Definitely. So one thing that really kind of stood out to me as odd was just the lyrical content of everyone seemed like it avoided any sort of threat, mostly threats of violence, any sort of real street talk or whatever. And I was wondering, is that kind of just because everybody realizes that they're rapping in front of Chance the Rapper and that you probably want to go clean? Or was there ever any sort of instructions about lyrical content? Because I just felt like everyone, and probably a lot of it has to do with who was picked, but everyone went in a very different direction than a lot of modern day rap.
That's actually really interesting. I never noticed that. The only lyrical, I guess it was even a performance direction, was to don't sound like Drake. They didn't want us to do any sing-songy melodic shit.
Interesting.
And that's fair, and I get that. But from what you're saying, and also let me say this real quick. They edited the fuck out of that show.
Bet.
They cut pretty much all of my cypher verse. They cut a lot of shit. So, and with that being said, we don't get to see the other people rap when we're backstage. So maybe they cut a lot of that shit out.
Right.
They could have done that just because of, TV shit. With that being said, I say that a lot. Gangster rap's hard to do if you're not gangster. True. It's just really hard. Yeah. The reason X-Rated was talking about this, he was like, yeah, people fucked with me because I was just saying what the fuck was happening. It wasn't like I was doing, he's like, it's Crip. It's Crip, but this is what this is. This isn't me trying to be Crip. This is Crip. So if a lot of the people, I would assume, most gangsters aren't trying out for reality TV shows. Right. That's my But
thought. When I just think about what I was watching on that show versus when I do these live streams where people just donate for me to check out their music and stuff, it's so much of what I get sent on there is basically some sort of weird emo rap thing where they're inspired by Lil Peep, Juice WRLD, maybe something like Post Malone or whatever, where they're just doing this sort of melodic thing. It's definitely not about rapping. Yeah. A lot of times there's a obvious X influence. A lot of times there's people who kind of sound more of a TK or even a Chief Keef type thing. There was so much of the people on Rhythm and Flow were just rappers.
Yeah, they made us. They made that super clear. They made it super. In fact, they made it so clear that Ray Khalil. I don't know if y'all remember her. She was the one with the glasses and the dreads. She lost in the battle to Big Mouth. But Ray Khalil, when she did her audition,
I'm a queen.
No, that's Felicia George. Oh. Her ancestors are behind her. No, this is Ray Khalil.
She just kept saying, I'm a queen, no matter what they would ask her.
Felicia was dope, too. Yeah, Ray Khalil, when she did her audition, in front of Snoop and all that, she did more of a melodic type of thing, and they said no.
Really?
She cannot do that. So she had to do, her actual audition thing was something that she just came up with within that 24 hours.
It's so interesting because when they tell you don't do a Drake type thing or whatever, Drake is the most influential rapper of the last 10 years. And that's a conversation I was having with somebody is I'm there's nobody on that show that reminded me of a Playboi Carti, an Uzi, a melodic type of thing. And everybody seemed like a real rapper who probably writes out their verses and stuff. Whereas when you listen to most rap these days, it feels like most people are punching in. Oh, yeah. It's very much this sort of cerebral, just sort of off the top of the head type thing. Yeah. Whereas Rhythm and Flow is such a different, if you like real rap, you definitely got a lot of good shit out of it in terms of artists that fulfill that.
Yeah, I think modern hip hop today is very ethereal, and it's very you need to hear it on a record. That's what the Post Malone type shit is. And I really appreciate Rhythm and Flow for doing that, because they could have had the top four just be oh girl, that could have been the whole top four from the whole finale. So yeah, they made sure nah, y'all better rap.
And it's if you're doing a rap contest, it's like if you put D Smoke up against Playboi Carti and you're judging who's the better rapper, how the fuck are you gonna pick Playboi Carti when he's not really doing anything? Like, and his music is huge, he's unbelievably successful, but it's like, how do you really quantify the value in that versus somebody who's really rapping their ass off? In particular, D Smoke seemed poised to win the whole thing because he had all of these sort of other attributes with the Spanish and the instruments and stuff. It's like, it seems so perfect to make that point of look at how great a hip hop musician can be.
Yeah, and once again, I applaud them for having us just rap, because that would have been some bullshit if it was a D Smoke versus Playboi Carti and Playboi did some hype shit and D Smoke came out with the Delisha Keys shit and Playboi Carti. Well, that'd be fucking terrible. That'd be absolutely
weird.
terrible.
Yeah.
And I also said, like, D Smoke should have won. Like, absolutely. I'll say this too. Whoever wins our battle, I think wins the whole show. But D Smoke he's the whole package. He is a great example of how great hip hop can be.
Do you think that the fans, in terms of who you talk to and stuff, because I mean, I think he's amazing. It seems, I would assume it seems a little weird to the fans that somebody from LA who is like related to people who are very clearly in the music industry, who has a fair amount of connections and stuff, ended up being the dude who won this thing. I feel like a lot of people at home are probably like in Kansas thinking they could win this thing. And then somebody who wins is somebody who realistically probably had a good shot at making a rap career without this show.
That's interesting. So take everything you just said and I hear it. Now, with D Smoke's performance of what he did in his finale, I wouldn't care. I don't care if he's Michael Jackson's kid. That motherfucker, well, that was beautiful what he did. Like, it was really beautiful. I don't think that, I've heard a lot of like conspiracies and type things going on. I don't think that was it. And if it was it, they did a great job of executing it, but he was the best in the show. He was the best. And I'll say this though, they almost tried to bullshit me when me and D Smoke battled. It was like, cool, we battled, yada yada yada, and they didn't know who the fuck was gonna win. And they said, all right, audience, who we've already told, like, this dude's from Inglewood, California. All right, audience, we're gonna do like a crowd like participation, like who won. And I was like, no, like, you can't do that shit. Like, he's from Inglewood, he's from here.
Wow.
Like, you can't do that. So, no, I don't think there was any type of crazy conspiracy thing, but yeah, that was a story that happened that made me.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
because it's like when you watch it too, like sometimes somebody will fuck up in their rap and then that becomes this big overhanging like thing in that episode of like, this guy fucked up his words that one time. But it's kind of like, I mean, that doesn't really make sense to me as somebody who watches rappers in the studio constantly and sees that is what you do, is you fuck up over and over. And even on stage, you're not going to have to perfectly deliver your verse. Almost everybody has a backing track. And it's like, I know that they're taking, that if they show you rapping for 30 seconds on camera, that you didn't just rap for 30 seconds. They could have easily left you fucking up out.
I think for all the audience that watch Rhythm and Flow, y'all don't understand how many people fucked up. People fucked up
Everybody.
so much in that show. And yeah, you're right. I don't think it was exact science of who's going to be the best rap superstar. And I think they would say that this was their first season. Like, we didn't know exactly what to do. Because for me to have to wait until I battle someone to write a song to show you how good of an artist I am is a little fucking ridiculous.
It's pretty funny. It's like doing a game show where they're just making you like jump through random hoops of fire and shit, It's
a trivia show.
Yeah.
It's like, no, what the fuck?
In your rap career, you will never have to battle someone.
Never, ever.
You probably won't even have to make a song at someone, but you definitely won't have to battle someone.
No, so I think they knew that they kind of like they could have handled that better. But yeah, it's their first season. I'm not mad at them.
Right.
Yeah, it's not an exact science.
Interesting. Yeah, I thought it was super funny too. I'm not sure where you fit belief-wise, but I just love the fact that anyone who said anything remotely like dark or anti-religious at all, that Chance was just, he did not try to hide his bias at all. He was just like, I wasn't fucking with that. Nope. It's just like, I thought this was supposed to be about the music, not like your belief system.
There was definitely, and I hope this isn't like Man, fuck it.
No offense to Chance.
Yeah,
Huge
yeah,
fan.
and also no offense to Chance either. What I'm about to say, but there was definitely a conversation behind the scenes of like, man, he loves God too much. like everyone was just like, not everyone, but it was just like, damn. Well, I never had to deal with that because I wasn't saying anything like on either side of the spectrum. But yeah, the people who did like test it. Yeah, they were like, man, fuck. Some bullshit, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, even, yeah. No, I'll leave it at that.
It was funny as hell seeing Cardi, too, because Cardi, like, at times would just be like, you know, I thought that you're a good rapper, you made a great song, but I can never imagine it playing in the club. And it's just like, why does it have to be played in the club? Not every song has to be played in the club.
There were a couple of questionable like things like, yeah, like that's gonna scare white people. Like, you can't say that.
A lot of the best rap music of all time scared white people. And that was a big part of its appeal.
Yeah, that was yeah, there was some questionable judgments, and I'll say this too. I was the biggest Cardi like advocate backstage, like because people were like, I don't know if I should say all this, but people were like kind of like, oh, what does she know? Like, what does she know about rap?
Well, sometimes she's not even using like actual words. She'd just be like, that song. And it's so funny because the whole audience is laughing and so hyped on this answer, and I'm like, she didn't say anything. But I get it. She is kind of charming without really saying anything.
Shit, yeah. No, I had her back. Cardi, I had your back the whole time.
She's rad. Sometimes I'm watching her like, why are we all falling for this?
Well, I know why. It's because no one else could do it. If someone else could be Cardi B right now, they would have been Cardi B.
Right.
Like she's really one of a kind. That's it. We're falling for a rarity.
A lot of the best like actors are like dudes who can carry movies. I don't know if you're super familiar with Adam Sandler, but when I think about Billy Madison, like the shampoo and the conditioner are fighting. It's like when I look back on that now, I'm like, why was this so fucking funny? Because from any actor who is less charming or like, oh, hello, Mr. Penguin. It's like this would seem so stupid, but he's like a good enough actor to pull it off. And that's if you could pull off like dumb physical comedy and like weird facial gesture comedy, then you got it.
Yep, Cardi got it. Cardi got it, dude.
That's crazy. So you get off the show. Has it opened a lot of doors for you? Just in terms of, I'm sure that a shitload of people like. Because for me, I'm watching the show, and everybody that I'm any way interested in, I'm like checking my Instagram to see if they ever DM me, and like hitting people up just to like I hit you up. I'm like, man, you won that battle.
Thank you.
And I'm just like, it's so cool to be able to offer people commentary in real time while watching the show.
No, that was great. That was really great, by the way. I appreciate the fuck out of it. Because I've gotten a couple of those just from like random people, and it's been like, oh, well, yours was one of the ones where I was like, I read it and I was just like, what the fuck? Like, how did this come? And the game hit me up one time, and I was just like, what the fuck? Like those type of interactions have been new. Like that shit has been beautiful. Now, with that being said, again, I'm gonna stop saying that for the rest of the show.
It's a good turn of phrase.
It didn't help musically as well as much as people would have thought, because people like I got like an extra almost 200,000 followers just from the show, right? And that's cool, but people are following me because I was on a reality show more than me being a good artist.
It's a different type of fan base there again. Yeah,
it's like I can get people to like my pick of like me interviewing my daughter, but I can't get that person to come to my show. Hell nah, they don't want to see that shit because they like the allure of, oh, he was a reality TV show. Y'all don't give a fuck. Y'all don't know any of my songs. So that's been a little bit. That's a hard space to navigate because once again, all I can do is just keep doing me. But yeah, it's been weird.
Have you put out a lot of music since then? Like, do you have a feeling that if you were to go all out for a video or a project or whatever, that you could manage to get a lot more attention on it?
Yeah, I think specifically for a video, yes. It's just harder for people that don't know you to listen to just your music. Yeah. So if I put a video out, which I will be very soon, I think I'll get a lot of traction on it. But I just put out an album, and it's doing okay, but it's not the same amount of likes that if I put out a fucking picture of me and Cardi B, some shit like that.
Do you feel like if you had made it deeper into the show that the effect would be way amplified? Because I've noticed that a few of the people that made it to the final round have like 1 million+ followers now, and I don't know to what extent they might say the same thing about their music now.
Yeah, D Smoke, when he put out his Inglewood High tape, I think it charted. Like,
really?
Because people were down. Like, yeah, we got to see you make your song.
Right.
I'm a big believer of people like understanding the process. If you understand the process, like you will become more a part of this artist's life.
That's the whole problem in rap, is just to humanize yourself. How do you convince people that you actually are the kind of person they should give a fuck about?
Yeah, and I think for Smoke in the last 4, they got to see them write songs. They got to see them prepare for live shows. They got to see them do the live shows. So yeah, that, for me, the thing that sucks about it for me losing to Smoke is that's where my story ends on Rhythm and Flow, and my name is always connected to Smoke's in some way. It's like, oh, you should have beat Smoke, or oh man, like it'd have been tight to see you beat Smoke and go to the music video challenge. It's never just like, oh man, it's not never. Let me not say that. A quarter of the time, it's me being related to Smoke in some way.
And it's weird because you like the guy. No animosity. You're like, damn, he's a talented guy.
Yeah, not at all. That's the homie.
Yeah.
And I never got, the first time I got to see him rap is when he stood in front of me and said I look like Steve Harvey. That was the first time I got to see him rap.
Dude, I'm a fucking Steve Harvey convert now. I love that guy.
Really?
He's so funny. I don't know.
He's a doofus.
You don't like him?
This dude said, so he had this like motivational thing like after his like Steve Harvey show or whatever, and he's like, yo, y'all shouldn't sleep 8 hours a day. That's crazy. Like the real people who like only sleep like 3 hours.
Yeah.
So what the fuck are you talking about? You like trying to not get me to sleep, Steve Harvey? That's dumb as fuck.
Do you remember this thing that came out where he put out a memo that was basically telling everybody who's on the set of his TV show that they're not allowed to talk to him in the hall because he's sick and tired of people trying to vulture his time out of him?
See, I'm with that actually.
That's so tight.
Yeah, I can fuck with that. Yeah.
I feel that sometimes where if I'm backstage at a show and I feel like if I'm not in direct communication with someone for 3 seconds, that someone's gonna be like, "Big, hey, let me tell you about my SoundCloud." Oh.
So this is the conversation I had with X-Ray about me trying to do this shit sober and having this realization that the only reason I'm drinking is for the before and the after the show. It's not for the performance. I've been performing for my whole life. I know I got that shit down. It's this social anxiety, and he said it too. He said, yeah, I got social anxiety too. His for a different reason, because he's ready to go. If some shit pops off, like I'm ready, like that social
He's
anxiety.
scared of himself.
Yeah. My social anxiety comes from just not wanting to talk to people and hating small talk and like that type of shit. So yeah, man, I have that same, that's where the Steve Harvey comes out in me, is just to like, I don't want to be zapped of any energy before or after or any of that shit. So then I drink and do drugs.
That makes sense to me. The final thing I want to say with Steve Harvey though is that I watched a shitload of Family Feud as a kid.
Yeah.
And then like I was an adult by the time they switched him out for Steve Harvey on the show. So I had never really seen it. And then randomly on YouTube I clicked on a video of like the funniest, like the worst answers.
Yeah.
And it's just Steve Harvey just mocking these people when they got the wrong answer. And I just immediately like reconsidered Steve Harvey
That's
as a
what
person.
got you to convert?
Because, you know, when it was it, no, Bob Barker was Price is Right. It was Drew Carey for a long time, but who was it before that?
Family Feud?
Yeah.
Louis Anderson was a couple of years, but he
yeah.
wasn't the very last one. Then it was the dude from Home Improvement for a little bit. You remember that?
Tim Allen?
Nah, the other dude, the worst dude, not the neighbor, his like homie. Forget
Al
his name.
Borland?
Yeah, it was Al. Al was the host, and then before Steve Harvey, I don't remember.
But when Steve Harvey takes over Family Feud, it's just like, you know, it's just such a different breed of comedy.
Yeah.
And it's just so much funnier to see this guy. I don't know, man. I became a fan as soon as I watched that one YouTube video. I'm going to get cable and just start watching Family Feud.
You're not going to get cable.
No. I would go on that show in a heartbeat, though. That would be the best
sure.
thing ever.
Yeah.
You and your family just teaming up. It must be so fun.
That's great.
So much camaraderie. So, yeah, what's your life like these days? And, like, what's been going on that's different?
Shows, a lot of shows. I'm going on tour, which is why I'm trying to catch this like addiction thing before I go on tour. That's what once Juice WRLD, that whole thing happened. Like I never, like there was no like immediate like connection to him. Like I didn't really listen to his music or like fuck like with him like that. But when he died, that shit got me in the way. It's like, oh yeah, like addiction and like drugs will fucking kill you. Say all that to say. I'm going on tour, trying to do this shit sober. Yeah, that's the main thing that's changed. The price for shows went up, and yeah, so I'm gonna try to make my money off of that.
That's dope. You have like, do you have like labels or like management type people reaching out trying to do stuff with you? Because I feel like that would be
that's funny.
People who think I could help you with your
So that's
career.
funny because I ran into this dude, Fred Coates. He was Juicy J's manager, and we had a conversation just about like, so people have been hitting you up, and I was like, no, no one's been hitting me up, and he was like, wow, like that's really weird. Like, why do you think that is? Here's my thought. There was they don't know that you can make that money yet. There was some contestant from Rhythm and Flow that had a show, and like not a lot of people came to the show, and that's pretty damning for like you to have this notoriety, success, and do a show, and then no one come. So I think one reason is people don't know if you can make the money yet. And the second reason, I listened to the New York Times podcast about the show.
I listened to that too. Shout out John Caramonica. That was a great analysis of it.
Fraser Tharp?
Yeah.
And they had a little thing there, and he was like, yeah, the people who like are on the labels aren't watching the show. And it's like, oh, fuck. Well, that's weird. So if no one's watching the show and you can't make the money... Yeah.
TV is just so fucking weird now because it used like if this show was on in 1998, then everybody would be tuning in to watch it, and it would be this shared cultural experience, and everybody would remember it. And like even when I tried to talk about it on my weekly podcast, the No Jumper Show, with my co-hosts, some of them were like, "I don't feel like they promoted it that well. Like I didn't even know it was up." And I'm like, "It was right out there on Netflix.
As soon as you turn it on.
It was on billboards." I'm like, I feel like, like when you put it front and center on Netflix and it's got T.I., Cardi B, and Chance the Rapper in the thumbnail, I mean, what else are they supposed to do? They put in work promoting it.
Well, like they said in the podcast, they were like, the 3 episodes a week kind of fucked them up too, because there was no time to be embraced with someone. It was like, I got kicked off. All right, bye, nigga. Then you got these last couple of people, and it's the finale, and then that's it. And it's like, oh,
that must have been the weirdest part about me like hitting you up, is that it's not like I hit you up the day that episode came out. I hit you up like weeks and weeks later when I got around to watching it, which I assume is what it's like for most people because there's just so much content.
Yeah, there was. And like China and shit are just getting it now. Like France and like other places are all just getting it right now.
That's
so
hilarious.
There's like a whole nother slew of people hitting me up. But like, yeah, it was so unprecedented, that type of show, that I don't think anyone knew how to deal with it. Like until the dude who won, until Smoke won, like London B just has that star quality already. People was gonna fuck with her. But until you got to like the very, very end, I feel like nobody knew what the fuck to do.
And even in the first few episodes, like I actually stalled out. I watched a couple episodes and then I stopped watching it, and then I listened to some of that New York Times podcast, and they were like, the original episodes are not that good. It gets a lot better as it goes on, and that's what made me actually get back into it. But that's pretty bad for a show to have like weak initial episodes and then have it heat up. It's got to be super engaging these days if you want people to watch.
And I think they'll figure it out next season. There was just a bunch of shit that was just super first season type of shit. Like even our craft services were like trash as fuck. We had one bucket of cream cheese with a plastic knife in it, and then bagels, and that was it. And the cream cheese just like had the bagel crumbs in it, and it was just like fuck.
That's offensive right there, bro.
I remember asking like, "What's up?" And they're like, "This is every first season of a type of show. Like they don't know if it's gonna like succeed, so that's where they cut the money too, is craft services. We have bagels and orange juice boxes."
I am gonna Postmates myself a salad if you give me jail food like that, bro. Fuck that.
Yeah, no, we had to. Yeah, we definitely had to. We were just starving, and then we would eat like In-N-Out after. But yeah.
Wow. But were you there like a huge amount of time? Because that's one thing that I was thinking when I was watching it, is like knowing how TV typically is. I'm assuming that they probably just filmed this in a few days. Or?
So this was it was like a month of shooting for like the finale at the end of it. I was there for probably 2 weeks.
Okay.
And yeah, they're quick with it though. Like it was a lot. There's so much shit that they cut. Like I had to do a whole verse where they drove me out to like Santa Monica and I do a verse and I'd walk on the train tracks and shit. And that was like a whole day worth of shooting and they just cut it. So like fuck, I could have used some of that verse in the battle. Like
That's crazy.
I really wanted to.
Oh man, that's gotta suck too.
God damn it, man.
Holy
Perfect
shit.
line, man.
And it must be so crazy too because it's like anyone who knows how like Cardi B moves, it's like she doesn't move without purpose. Like her time is so valuable that it's like, you know, average like when you're shooting a TV show is like everybody's on set for 12 hours. You're just doing whatever the fuck they tell you to do. I'm assuming it doesn't really go like that when you have 3 mega stars who have to be in the same place,
there were times, just a little backstory, there were times, so when we first, like the 30 contestants, we make it to LA, cool. And we walk into this like warehouse and it's King Los and it's Cardi, Chance, and Snoop. Or Tip.
Yeah.
And we had to do that like 3 different times because we couldn't get everyone there at once. So we did with Los and then we went back and then the next day we had to put on the same shit and then we did it with like them and then it was like a whole thing. And there were multiple times where we had to like, oh yeah, like Cardi's supposed to be here. She was supposed to be here like X amount of hours ago. So yeah, that was a whole thing. So shouts out to them because they did it, but it was a production for that ass. And everyone keeps asking too, like, did you get to meet them? Like, no, absolutely not. We got to see them when we did our challenges. Hey, and then she left.
And then they're
like,
just talking about you.
Yeah. It's like fuck, man. Yeah, that show was a trip.
Wow. That's crazy. I wonder how you're going to look back on this in like 10 years.
I think about that shit all the time, man. That's so crazy. I think about that shit all the time. Because it's a reality TV show. This shit might age horribly. That shit might age terribly.
Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
The White Rapper show. That they were talking about all the... And I remember, and it's like, I remember watching the White Rapper show and loving it, but I didn't understand why I loved it so much. And now when I think back on it, it was so well done.
Was it?
I think so because they were really like they talked about this on that New York Times podcast. But like it was very well done in the sense that they were very open and clear about a white person's role in hip hop, and it sort of explored that. And they had a lot of really funny characters, you know.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how this shit ages. Whole thing is, I did my thing. So if the whole thing ages poorly, that is what it is. I doubt my audition. I doubt what I did will age.
I think your performance was timeless stuff.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny though because making a TV show, a really good TV show, and making a successful rapper out of the winner of that show are 2 very different things. Because when I say that I thought that the White Rapper show was like incredible, when I look back on it, and it's like we're still talking about it all this time later. But who the fuck? Like the dude Shamrock won. Yeah, but I mean, it's not like he had some massive career.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah,
and 4D Smoke, I think he has it set up right now where he will have a massive career. But yeah, I was scared about it, like, not translating. Like it could have easily just not translated. People, just like how my social media followers and people who like my music are different, people might have fucked with D Smoke on that show, but if he wasn't like polished enough, they might just be like, fuck him. Yeah. But I think he'll have a massive career.
I think he just needs the right like team around him to basically like help put his stuff out, because it's like, you know, there are like, he's comparable to somebody like a Kendrick or a J. Cole or whatever, who's like a deep introspective artist who I think could make great art. He just needs like a machine around him that'll allow him to do that.
Who do you think will blow up out of everyone? I think it's London.
Yeah, I wonder with her.
Yeah, I think it's London.
Picking successful like female rappers is like infinitely complicated because they're all sort of straddling this line between like, you know, character / like sex appeal and then the art.
Yeah.
Her music was super dope.
Yep.
And she's very pretty.
Yep.
You just wonder like what exactly people are looking for, what they need. I mean, picking what rappers are going to succeed is so goddamn hard.
Yeah, just in general. Fuck a reality show, just in general.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I'm actually really excited about for the show is there's definitely like a collaboration of people on that show that if maybe 2 to 3 people combined that will make some amazing shit. I don't think we've got there yet, but like there's some people that need to work together on that show that could make some amazing shit.
I would love for it to become like a double XL cover type thing, where every year you look at who the class was that came out that year, and
that's a great idea.
You know, that would be pretty iconic
idea, actually.
if it repeated that much.
Idea. And I think the other thing I'll say about this show too is, for me, the competition has started now. Like, this is when the competition starts.
This is very true.
You know, like the whole, like, you got, all these challenges to do all that shit, cool, but that shit's done now. Who's going to be the one that sticks around the most? And that's where I'm at right now. I'm trying to be that dude.
Right.
I lost. Shit.
But you got a lot more eyeballs on you now, so if you make the piece of content, you got a much better ability to spread that. You know?
That's where the shit starts.
That's dope. I like that aspect of the show, that it wasn't like, oh, there was no assumption that, or it would have seemed preposterous if T.I. was like, now you're going to be one of the biggest rappers in the world, D Smoke, and here is millions of dollars and all the riches of the world. Like, we've unlocked your career for you. It was like, here's some money.
Yep.
Go figure it out. We believe you have a good chance, but you're gonna have to figure out yourself from here.
No, well, and once again, I have no doubt he'll make it, but I think I got this shit. I think I'll be the one that sticks around the most. As crazy as that shit sounds, I have that feeling.
Yeah, I mean, you're just like a dope rapper in general. Like how would you describe your style? Like, I mean, it's kind of hard to put a finger on.
It varies from album to album. Right now, I'm super E40, Mac Dre, Bay influence right now.
Oh, really?
Like, that's just where I'm at. I grew up creatively in the Bay. Like, all of my upbringing, even from E4 or X-Rated, I was listening to X-Rated shit as 6 years old. Like,
wow.
Definitely should not have been listening to X-Rated.
Crazy.
So yeah, right now I'm in that like Bay Area, Northern Cali type of rhyme scheme.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's interesting. You're on a little bit different direction when you look back at your stuff from like 4 or 5 years ago. Is very like sort of, I don't want to like pander and say it was like conscious type stuff or whatever, but you were very,
no, that's, and bring up X-Rated again. So the album, the 4-song EP, my very first 4-song EP was The Perils, and I wrote it entirely while I was homeless. Just completely homeless. I wrote every song in the backseat of my car.
How much did that video cost you?
The Perils video, not much. It's probably on the homie's credit card right now. But that was we just shot in every place that I actually lived, so there was no big cost. It was pretty much just the cameras.
Oh, okay.
But the reason I fuck with X-Ray so much too is because he heavily influenced that album of being in your environment, rapping about your environment, and seeing the authenticity that comes from that. And me being homeless as fuck, writing an album while I was homeless as fuck, you can call it conscious or whatever. I don't think X-Ray would call his shit necessarily conscious. It just was real rap. And that term might be overused, and it's probably used incorrectly, like, oh no, this isn't real rap. But real rap in the terms of, I live this shit, this is the art that I made from it. So yeah, I wouldn't say conscious, but that's where I was 4 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
That's dope, man. If people want to catch up with you, Instagram is
Old Man Saxon, Instagram, Twitter. If y'all still use Facebook, that's sad, but I do too.
I'm freshly on Facebook.
Man,
I just started going hard with it. Well, I mean, I've had one forever, but we've just started like putting all the interview clips up from these interviews on there and shit.
I think that's actually where I found the X-Rated interview.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you got one. You got one from me.
That's dope. Well, X-Rated, I noticed that he's pretty heavy on Facebook, so he probably was sharing it because I don't even think we got around to posting it yet. I don't think it's cut up yet.
X-Rated, yeah.
That's tight. Yeah, I mean, I love a older crowd that you might be able to get on Facebook. That's kind of intriguing because I'm interviewing all these grown ass rappers and I don't really like get as much credit for it. I'm like, well, the adults are on Facebook. Maybe I should go hard on Facebook.
Yeah, you get some grandmas too. Yeah. And then Peacock Honey, the album I just released, and I have a show. Y'all won't see this, but I have a show tonight. Sorry.
I'm excited to see how it goes.
You gonna come?
I don't think I can because I have to stream. I just turned down Dame Dash on tonight because I have to live stream for the people. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Turn down Dame Dash.
Well,
are y'all beefing now?
No, we're permanently beefing.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. That makes perfect
I forget
sense.
that when I tell people that I've like that I was just like talking to Dame Dash. Like I saw somebody I hadn't seen in a while, and I was like, oh man, listen to what Dame Dash just said to me. And he was just like, you're just texting Dame Dash? I'm like, that is kind of crazy.
That's crazy as fuck, man.
Yeah. Whatever. Old Man Saxon, I appreciate you, bro.
Hey, appreciate
Thank you so much for coming through. It was a good combo. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And everybody, if you want to let us know who we should interview next from Rhythm and Flow, which I believe is a hip hop dynasty in the making.
Okay.
I wonder if they're gonna have the same judges though. I don't think so. They're not gonna be able to keep. You think they will?
Yeah.
Jeez. I also love the $250,000 for the prize because of the fact that Cardi B gets like over $1 million per show.
She just gave Offset $500,000.
$250,000 is a shitload of money to almost everybody besides the 3 judges of that show.
Yeah, that's real. Yeah, that's
appreciate you, man. Old Man Saxon, No Jumper, coolest podcast in the world. Check us out on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes. Like, comment, subscribe. NoJumper.com if you want to support. You want to get my girlfriend's shirt that I'm wearing right here?
Oh, that's cute.
Boom. I'm going to go eat some almonds. NoJumper.com. Like, comment, subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want one of these, you know where to go. And then No Jumper Facebook too. Link is down in the description. Some good stuff going on over there. Appreciate y'all watching this.